Hey there, girly pops, and welcome back to the Cozy Babes Club. I'm your host, Chloe Taylor, and today we are talking about building your personal brand. I know that this episode may not be for everyone because not everybody that consumes my content wants to build something online, but I feel like if you're somebody that has wanted to do that or is always curious about that, I am the jack of all trades, the master of none, better than being the master of one. Actually, you know what? I forgot to put my lipstick on. Please hold. Okay, that's better. As I was saying, I am the jack of all trades, the master of none, but that is much better than being the master of one. Most people don't know that entire quote. They just say jack of all trades, master of none as like an insult. And no, I am a very seasoned online content creator. I have been creating since the girl boss era of 2010 and forward. And the digital landscape has changed a lot in that time, but just a little brief overview for those of you that are unaware. I started content creating in 2010. I had a channel that was dedicated to my fat loss journey and I was vlogging. I had this channel for maybe a year to a year and a half. I actually deleted it, it doesn't exist anymore. And sad too, because like there's content that I wish I could go back and watch. Then in 2013, I believe, I actually started a gaming YouTube channel where I went by the name Sims 3 Copper Fox. Then it was Little Copper Fox. Then it was Copper Fox Games. Then it was Coffee. Or it was like Coffee YT. Then it was just Coffee. I went by many names in that genre. And mostly my gameplay surrounded around The Sims 3 and then The Sims 4 when it came out. And now The Sims is being bought by the Saudi government. And I literally have taken down every piece of content that I have ever made in that genre. That entire channel has been scrubbed because no, I will not be supporting that. But yeah, that channel's been dead for a long time. I haven't uploaded over there in many years, but that channel, I actually got my 100K play button on that channel. Like I was a dedicated YouTuber. I also got like Twitch partner in that same niche. Like I was a gamer girl in a past life. For about 7 years, I had a relatively successful career. And then I lost my sister to an addiction and had emergency surgery, and all this crazy stuff happened at the same time. Literally, I was in the hospital having surgery when I got the news of my sister passing. And it was a horrible situation. It caused me to look at my life and ask myself who I wanted to be. And then I got really into spirituality and tarot card reading, which I was already into tarot card reading. I was already into astrology by this point, but I was not as heavily into it, like as a daily practice. And I got really into that in my day to day life. It provided a lot of comfort to me in a really difficult time in my life. And then I decided to branch out and start doing spirituality content. I did a lot of witchcraft content in the beginning. And then when I posted like my first few pick a card readings, that was when things really took off again. I became really well known in the tarot niche on YouTube specifically. And while this has been going on, I have also podcasted numerous times. Like, I had a podcast back in the day called The Coffee Pod. I had a podcast called Twin Flames that was co hosted with a friend of mine. I also had a podcast called Cozy Cast at one time. And then we were Divine Authentic and Unapologetic. And then we were Divine Authenticity. And now the podcast is called the Cozy Babes Club, which is what you know it as today. So I have been through several evolutions in the last, 16 years is what we're looking at. I have been online making content pretty consistently for 16 years. Mind you, I also had a stint in there where I like made vegan food related content because I was vegan for 6 years. Like anytime I have done something online, it's usually been because I have been interested in that thing. And then I'm like, you know what? I can make content out of this. So now that you know where all of my background comes from, I've gathered these questions for a really long time. And if y'all ever want to ask more, there is a contact thing on my website, chloetaylor.com, where it's a section called Ask Chloe. If you ever want to talk about something on the podcast, or you want advice on something, or there's a specific topic you would love to hear discussed, this is a great place to write into me. Please do not use this contact form as a place to contact me directly, because it doesn't even come directly to me. I very rarely see these things. They get filtered by somebody else, and then I get stuff from there. So please do not use that as a form of contacting me directly, because I very seldom get the messages. But just know, if you ever want something discussed, want advice on something, want something to be put towards the podcast, it's a great place to put stuff in there about the podcast. So I'll leave that link for you down below if you're curious about where all of this is coming from. But I have 10 questions here. I have not pulled these directly. I have gone through and kind of reworded ones where there were like repeats or things that a lot of people had asked me about. And hopefully, this is going to give you insight if you're wanting to build a brand, if you're wanting to create content, if you're that kind of person. I hope that whatever comes out, I have not previewed these questions at all. So, whatever we get to, this is all like completely off the cuff. And I'm hoping that through today, my goal is that something you've been curious about, or if you needed more spark, more momentum, something to get the juices flowing for you to get moving on something, I hope that this episode will really give you that, the confidence to move forward, and also maybe answer some questions about this stuff. So, number one is, when I first started posting online, what did I think consistency meant and what do I know about it now? Oh my goddess. So back in the day, in like 2013, 14, 15, 16, the meta for gaming content, which is what I was making at the time, was literally posting every single day. Like, the meta on YouTube specifically was post every day. Everybody's Instagram feeds were perfectly curated. It was a very different world. We did not have TikTok at that point. We did not have this like influx of short form content. Instagram didn't have reels. YouTube did not have shorts. And it really felt like, in order to stay up in it, you had to be uploading a lot. There was a period of time in there where I did upload twice a day, every day, and I feel like it nearly killed me. So I don't perpetuate that now. I think now we are living in a day and age where high value content, I think, is more important. And I'm not talking about like high value content in, it has to have like the best camera, the best microphone. That's great if you've got it, but it's more about what value do you add to somebody else, and also what, like, people want to see real. Like, I feel like in today's world, a lot of that like polished, overproduced, don't get me wrong, there's still a place for it. Like, if that's really what you get up in your jock about in a good way, like, please by all means make the aesthetic stuff. We need your art. But I feel like in the current culture of today, it is like it is the very authentic version of people that people are looking for. And I do think, of course, I'm going to bring everything back to astrology. I believe that both Saturn and Neptune, but Saturn in particular, does bring with it kind of what we experience culturally, and like where you can kind of look to astrology to see what people are going to be obsessed with next. And we just went through a really intense Piscean period where this was all about like escapism and what we do to escape. And I honestly think the rise of like cozy hobbies and shit, affectionate, was largely due to this. We had like, where are people going to escape the horrors of life? And also people having to confront addiction and ways that we have coped to escape life. So I really do feel like the Piscean age brought it brought about a lot of spirituality. I feel like a lot of people that were vested in spiritual communities really took off at this time. And I honestly think moving into Aries, which we just had Neptune make the shift, Saturn is going to be happening in February, I believe. Don't mark my words on that. I need to actually look at the transits. But you'll know if you follow my Patreon, which this feels like a good time to mention that. If you're not following my Patreon and you love tarot astrology, I am starting to work on a series where I'm going to be vlogging like health and wellness related things in my life a little bit more. So if you want to see things like that, check it out. We also have a book club. My Patreon is what fully supports the production of this show. This show would not exist without the love and kindness of my patrons. So if you want to be a part of that, please make sure you check it out. It gets you a lot of extra content. And honestly, Patreon is like the backbone of everything I do. So it means a lot to me if you come and support me there. You can join for as low as $2.22, as high as $14.14. I feel like all of my tiers are very reasonably priced for what you get. And patreon.com/Chloe Taylor. I will link that down below for you. So, as I was saying, I do feel like moving into Aries, we are going to get a lot more like people really into physical focus, body, the warrior. These are archetypes of Aries, but also I think it's going to be a really hot time for like motivational speakers and people that are very much into getting shit done and like no nonsense. Like we're not doing the nonsense anymore. I also feel like this is going to bring about it a lot of like people being in their power. I don't know how else to explain it, but like I see something on the rise that's going to be coming. It's gonna be people that are louder. Not to say that I think coziness is gonna just like go away. I just think that it's not going to be as it was. And I feel like coziness really had her moment, you know, the Cozy Babes Club, even. We really had our moment, but I feel like moving forward with this Aries energy, we all are going to kind of look at content creation and how it's going to adapt to this. So, anyways, when it comes to consistency, what I think it means now, though, I feel like we got on a little bit of a side tangent. I don't think it is about posting everywhere every single day. If that's your vibe, for sure. But I do think it's going to be a lot more about just like spewing your nonsense and then hitting post. It's not going to be about making all this curated stuff, especially as Aries is moving up in here. But I also think it's going to be about I see Aries as almost a little bit more. I don't want to say organized because I don't think it's organized chaos. I think it's a little more sporadic and a little more chaotic, but I do feel like consistency for me personally at this point in my life, I will never be somebody that uploads every single day on YouTube ever again. Like that, the rate at which production has just changed over the years, that's just not a possibility for me. The files that I work with are so large, it would take like three of the computers I use to crunch through them as fast as I would need them to be crunched through. It just like, there's no way. Production is so heavy lifting now that unless I wanted to dramatically decrease how pretty everything I do looks, which I don't, I will never be that girl. I do think when it comes to consistency now, though, it's also not about being on every platform because most people that do that have like a team behind them. I ultimately think that you just need to pick two. I prefer Instagram and YouTube. Those are my like mains. I would say that my podcast to like Spotify and Apple as well, but really it's like Apple and Spotify and then also Instagram. YouTube is not necessarily even my bottom bitch anymore like it has been in the past. Like I pay attention, I respond to comments, I look at it, but it doesn't dictate my life anymore. I'm not like only trying to grow a YouTube channel like I was in the past. So I really do feel like consistency now, yes, I do feel like you need to show up every single week and dedicate time every week. But do I think it is an everyday, every platform? Absolutely not. That I think is the fastest way to spiral out of your mind. And it's not good for your mental health to be that up in it. But I also think that consistency it is an important part of doing things though. Like it is something you need to consider and ask yourself before you even get started. How much time do I actually have to allocate towards this thing? Because if you don't have a ton of time, that's okay, but you need to know that going in. What was one routine I added that genuinely changed everything for me as a creator? I'm going to tell you right now, the absolute best thing, and this is not going to be everybody's cup of tea, but it is very much mine. The best thing I have done for myself is force, and I do say force. I don't say that lightly. I had to force it. Now it just seems pretty routine, but in the beginning, I had to force it. And I make myself film my podcast every single Monday. And I don't care what I'm doing. I still work out. I still, like, if I have therapy on Monday, oh well, I'm also doing, I don't know who's trying to call me right now, but that's rude. I force myself to sit down, film my podcast every single Monday. And I don't care what I'm doing on that day. I don't care what I'm doing on that day. Like today, it's a Monday. I am sitting and filming my podcast. I also worked out for an hour today. I also saw my therapist today. I don't care what is happening in my day as long as there isn't some kind of an emergency, obviously. I'm going to make room for that. But every single Monday without fail, I know when I go to bed on Sunday night, I have to, whether come hell or high water, rain or shine, I have a podcast to film on Monday. It doesn't matter what time of day it gets done, but it needs to get done. And the reason for that feeds into my routine. And that is because I walk for an hour every single day and I am sweating. Like I am doing a fast paced walk. I am also out of shape, overweight. And when I walk, I'm a sweaty beast. And something that really helps me to get that walk done during my week is if I have content to edit. It takes me probably 3 to 4 walking sessions to have a finished podcast. So if I don't get that done at the top of my week, I'll still work out. I'm not going to not do that, but it throws off my routine because I am somebody that I can't just like listen to music and be happy on the treadmill. I cannot. Like that is so boring. I hate it. It feels excruciating. I have to be stimulated to high hell to work to walk on the treadmill. And when I'm editing, I am being very stimulated because I have like a fucking laser focused eyeball at what I'm doing. And I'm making cuts, I'm making edits, I'm adding things, I'm looking for photos, I'm looking for links, I'm time stamping things. Like I am busy when I'm doing that and it keeps me from like feeling like the exercise I'm doing is a slog. So the routine that I added that made the difference was forcing myself to create every Monday, no matter what. And then throughout the week, it makes my week easier to have something to do. Like, not to something to do, because I can always find shit to do, but it like makes my workout time easier. And I like that. It's really fit nicely into my life. It's made me genuinely a healthier person overall. But that is something without fail in the content creation realm every single week. Monday, no matter what I'm doing, at some point in the day, I am sitting down and filming the podcast for Sunday. And it really sets my week off to a good start as well because nothing feels worse when you're trying to create content or make something and you're doing it the day before your own imposed deadline. Nothing feels worse than that. Like I used to do this all the time. I'd be like, oh my God, it's fucking Saturday night and I don't have a podcast ready. I need to figure that out. No, sister. We literally filmed the next week's podcast the day after the last one came out. So, not anymore. Couldn't be me. I don't know what that's like. Okay, what felt the scariest about putting myself out there at the beginning and how did I keep going anyway? Oh my God, I just experienced this. So I'm debating on how much I want to actually talk about. I just experienced this. Um, I think it's good to talk about these things, even from a seasoned content creator perspective, because I know a lot of people do look to me and you're like, how do you do that? How do you keep putting yourself out there like that? I need you to know that it does not get easier. You just get better at showing up because this week on my Instagram page, I put out a video or a reel that I had been sitting on for over a week. And this reel was not that deep, it was not that serious, but it talked a little bit about my fat loss journey. And in this video, I was nervous because, and this is very real, this is like the realness of being a content creator online. Most of my audience, like on Instagram in particular, most people started following me when I started talking about astrology. And I was nervous that if I opened my mouth and started talking about this other thing, even though feel like I have found ways to relate it back to astrology, I was afraid that a bunch of people would jump off and stop listening to me. And like, that's very real. Like, sometimes you niche down, everybody starts to know you for one thing, and then they don't want to see anything else. That happens all the time to content creators. It's very real. But the reason I bring it up with this question is I sat on this video for a week because I was nervous to post it. I was scared. I did not want to show up. But what I am building right now goes in tandem with that stuff. I'm not going to say too much about it because I've got too many plans going on in the background, and I find that for myself I move better when I move in silence and share when I'm ready. And I do feel like, though, right now my content needs to kind of be spidering out a little bit so that when that time comes and I do a hard launch, I want my content to be very aligned with that. And it does feel scary when you're stepping out of the box that everybody has put you in. It also, like, it's scary in the beginning to not to post something when you're like, who's gonna see this? Oh my God, my family might see it, my friends might see it. Social media is not for your friends and family. If you have an idea and there's content you want to make, literally block all of them. Like, don't care, block them all. You don't have time for that. You have a business to build. You don't have time to be playing small because you're afraid somebody you know is going to see it. Like, and to be quite honest with you, people I know have seen most of the content that I make. I also don't, and I've talked about this before, I don't allow a lot of people in my personal life to follow me. Like, my own mother is blocked on most of my accounts on things because I don't allow her to witness me. And that is because we have a strained relationship. Her being in my business makes me have anxiety, and I will not show up as my best, most authentic self if I know that she is watching me. It stresses me out, which I honestly think is kind of a blessing because it used to really offend me that my mother did not watch my content and did not support me and still doesn't. But now I'm like, actually, I think I kind of got the good end of the deal on that. Like, actually, I think it's great that my mother doesn't watch me, and she should not. Like, I feel like the way I am always talking about my relationship with her, I like the fact that we can have that kind of relationship, us, me and you. I feel like if I knew that she was always tuned in, it would freak me out. Like, it would cause me to stumble, and I would have to have a conversation with her about it that frankly I don't really want to have. So anyways, what was the original question? I feel like we're getting sidetracked. But in the beginning, I think what was so scary, and even now what is scary, it is that like you want to be perceived ultimately. That is the goal, is perception. But I feel like for me, it is that I'm going to be perceived wrong. And when you're doing work on social media, you have to get over that or learn how to do it anyways in spite of that. Because even with this video I just put out, literally with like I put it out on I think last Sunday. When you're seeing this, it would have been last Sunday because it was yesterday for me. I put this out, and there were people in my comments that have their own opinions of how things should be done. And you have to be ready when you make something and put it out for it to be judged and criticized. And you have to be ready to also either one of two things has to happen. Like, you either have to double down on your own opinion or be open and flexible to your opinion being changed. I think both are valid, and you have to be willing to hold that in everything that you do. I have to always be ready to either come to my own defense or say, you know what, you've actually got a really valid point. And if you're not ready to do that in a public setting, you obviously can ignore it. Like, you don't have to respond to everybody. I certainly don't. But you have to be ready for people to criticize, judge, and also let them be wrong. Like, or let them be right and change your stance. Those are the only options. So I think for me, and I don't know if this is how it's going to work for you, that is probably my hardest point is people challenging what I think and asking myself in any given moment, am I right or are they right? And that can be difficult if you don't have a strong personal center. Like me talking about my fat loss journey, I already know. And I've barely even touched the tip of the iceberg of this. I already know that there is going to come a point where I will be criticized, whether it is on Instagram, whether it is on YouTube. It's going to happen somewhere. And I have to be ready and okay with that. Like, it will happen. It is an inevitable. And that is because everybody has a different body. Everybody has a different body. And everybody has a different, and I'm bringing this up specifically because, like I said, it's a direction I want to move towards, sharing more of this stuff because it's really important to me. And my midheaven is in Virgo. It's like very aligned for me to be in the wellness space. I have so much more I could say about that, but I'm not going to, because I don't want to get too side railed. But that to me is the most difficult thing is having your own opinion, but being willing to hold the opposite or being willing to say, no, actually, you're wrong and you're on my platform. And like, I don't have to listen to that. You have to figure out where that line is. Because I used to be the kind of person that I would take every single person's point of criticism and I would reflect it on myself and then go, oh, I should change the way I speak. I should change the way I am. I should change my opinion. Maybe my opinion is wrong. And I think that's valid. It is a good thing to do that. But you can get to a point of extreme where you don't have a personality or an opinion anymore. And let me just tell you, that version of me is dead. Like, that version of me is well and truly dead, and I am willing to stand 10 toes down on, like, this is what I think, this is what I believe. You can challenge me, and I might be open to the fact that you could be right. But for the most part, I'm going to stand 10 toes down on what I said. I said what I said. Like, and you kind of have to be ready to be that person or to just let go. And I feel like I've said the same thing like 8 times just now, but that to me is the hardest thing about posting in the beginning is for me was the fear of criticism, the fear of being witnessed and people not understanding me. And you have to be ready to be misunderstood and be judged, period. If you cannot handle that, like, honestly, I feel like if you can't handle that from people in your own life already, and you are very susceptible to like hearing that and not standing up for yourself, you are going to get rolled in the digital space. And I've been there, girl. I deleted a whole YouTube channel one time. My very first YouTube channel doesn't exist anymore because of that reason. And I wish it did. Even if the content wasn't out there, I wish I still had it just to reflect on. So don't ever delete your YouTube channels. Keep them. Just, if you want to go ghost, like private all the videos, don't delete them. That is if you take no other advice from this video, take that piece. So anyways, I hope that that helps somebody. Um, if someone has a job, school, or a busy life, what does a realistic posting schedule actually look like? You're going to pick 1 to 2 platforms and if I think it also depends on the kind of content. If you're looking to do long form, you're going to pick one platform and you're going to commit to trying to get something out every single week. It doesn't have to be an hour-long podcast if that's not what you have time for. You can do a 20-minute podcast. You can do a 20-minute sit-down video, a 10-minute sit-down video. I would recommend at least 8 minutes minimum because I believe that is the cutoff for ads, if you ever want to make money in this way. The cutoff for ads is you have to be posting at least 8-minute long videos. So don't make them too short or you're never going to get paid for your work. But that to me would be the number one piece of advice is you're going to commit to one platform and you are going to do at least one thing if it's long form. Short form, I think, is a totally different ball game. And if you're trying to grow on short form, you have to post literally every day. And like, Don't do that long form. Like I said earlier in this video, I will never be that person again. But when it comes to short form, you really do kind of have to be there. And I say this from personal experience. When my Instagram and TikTok following, specifically last year, doubled, it was because I was on those apps every single day. I would make myself post before I could scroll, and I would post 1 to 2 videos a day, every single day. That grew my audience by literally double on both platforms. As I was saying earlier, with Aries being the new wave that we're in, this is actually like the best time because nobody is looking for polished and perfection. They are looking for, oh, I had this idea. Let me whip my phone out and talk to my phone for 30 seconds and post it. That is going to go over so much better than high production value stuff if you're doing short form. That is just my personal and professional opinion. Over the next few years, we're going to see a lot more people get popular just from like picking up and posting and not trying to be so overproduced, because think about that from an Aries perspective. Aries just frankly does not have time for that. Like, Aries is the OG shit poster. They are like, I had this crazy idea, let me talk about that. You know what I mean? Like, we don't have time for that. But I do feel like, and you don't have to be like, oh, every single night I make a video every single day. You can do like 1 day a week, you make 7 short form videos, spend 2 hours. You can do it in less than that if you already know what you're talking about. Like, something that I think has always worked really well for me is I'll keep a notepad in my phone of ideas. I don't wait and collect ideas and like say, oh, I'll do that eventually, and then never write them down. The second I have an idea for a short form piece of content, I write it on my list. So that way, when I have a free afternoon and I'm like, oh, I want to make some short form videos, I have a list that I can already go and touch and be like, oh, here's all the stuff I'm going to talk about. I can bust those out literally. If I'm on a good one, I could probably bust 7 videos out in under 45 minutes. But I'm also a talker. So, like, I feel like I can fill a room with air if I need to. Some people I know that is not their strong suit and it's going to take them a few more tries. But the more you do it, the easier and faster it gets. It doesn't have to take a long time. You can even tell yourself what I did, which is I cannot scroll on these apps until I post something. You can do it in 15 minutes a day. Like, oh, I posted, there we go. That was my piece of content. Now I'm going to move on with my day. But I think as you are building content, that is like the bare minimum. Is short form content demands every day. Long form content, I would say, demands at least once a week. And if you have a busy schedule, like, try to batch stuff or do stuff in a quick fashion. Don't try to have this high production value thing. Literally, if you've got your lunch break and you're in your car, pull out your iPhone and make that long form video. Like, set it up in your car and just start talking on your lunch break. There's your 15-minute YouTube video. I feel like the problem with I have a busy schedule and I can't make content, it's that you think you have to have this really polished thing and you don't. Like, make it easy on yourself. Just pick up your phone whenever you're inspired or write things down and then batch it. What did I used to think? What did I used to overthink as a creator that I wish I could tell beginners to stop stressing about? I wish I could tell, and I am telling y'all, to stop stressing about this is going to be my career. Like, don't get me wrong, I know what it feels like to work 9 to 5s. I've done it before. And you want something different for your life, and you will give anything to make this your lifestyle. I have been there. I know what that feels like. But I feel like when you have this attitude, it makes you're going to crash out. Like, I have seen this so many times in my lifetime from people that I've been friends with that are content creators or have been content creators. I have seen this where somebody thinks that they're going to like get rich quick and they do all the work, right? They do all the prep work. They make all their graphics, they get their fonts down, they get their colors down, they maybe even reserve the website, they design a product, they do all this stuff. They crunch out videos for like 1 month, maybe two, and then they give up because they're not getting any traction. When I tell you, and I know some of y'all don't want to hear it, this is going to upset some of y'all. Almost everything I have ever done online, I would be willing to say literally everything. Everything I have done online, I have had to spend a year or more making things consistently before I have seen any traction. And that's the thing that people don't want to hear. You're not trying to do a get rich quick. If that is your attitude going into content creation, you're in the wrong business. Like, if you love creating and you've got something that you can talk about for more than 50 episodes and you're passionate about this thing, you know that you would keep talking about it and keep making stuff about it, you're in the right business. That is like, yes, I can talk about this forever and ever. I love this thing. I want to, and like, I'm not even talking about like niching down. Like, it could be anything, it could be a multitude of things. But if you're not somebody that you know you could spend a year or more putting your time and energy into something, and if nobody watches for the first like 9 to 12 months, you're not okay with that, you are in the wrong business. Like, content creation is not the get rich quick scheme. It like I have seen that pan out very few times. Even in my own life, whenever I have tried to make something new, like no matter what it is, if it has been a new YouTube channel, a new podcast, I feel like the only thing that ever happened kind of quickly for me, and even then, it rode the curtails of another thing I was doing, and that's why it worked. Was I feel like getting Twitch partner when I was in my gaming career, it was not easy, believe it or not. I streamed for a really long time on and off before it happened, but they ended up grandfathering me into the partnership program because my YouTube channel already had over 100K followers. And I happened to get a lucky break because I got a hot tip from somebody that I will not mention. I got a hot tip from somebody that the game I was playing was getting a like super secret update that was major to the game. And so I stayed up all night. I planned my stream. I was there going live, playing the game when this patch dropped. There were over 1,000 people in my stream because everybody was looking for this game. And I had moderators from Twitch show up in my stream and they noticed me. And then I was grandfathered into the partnership program because of that stream. Because I had applied numerous times. I had applied numerous times. I had streamed before that and I wasn't getting anywhere. So, like even that I would say was not easy. I happened to get a lucky break, but I had been streaming for months prior to that. And I was somebody that was already a well-known content creator. Like, this is not normally things that happen overnight. Like, most people are not an overnight success. It takes a lot of time, a lot of dedication, a lot of consistency. And if you think you're just going to have this like passive income, making your own schedule, doing things on your own terms, you are so very wrong about that. Like, it takes time to get it all together. And then, even when you've got it and you're making some money and things are maybe feeling kind of good, you still also are the person that has to show up for everything. I don't hear enough people talk about, and maybe it is champagne problems. I don't hear enough people talk about in the content creator world how you really are the person that has to make your own structure. If you are an unstructured individual, content creation and being a like entrepreneur in that way is going to be a lot harder for you. I think the only reason I have been able to do it is I am a highly self motivated individual. I have been able to jump from different things, try different things, create in a multitude of ways, build multiple things, not because I have been able to carry people over either. Like, that might be contrary to popular belief, I'm not sure, but I have never started a new project and carried an audience over before. In fact, what I'm doing right now is probably the first time I'm going to attempt that. Like changing my niche up a little bit and doing it on the same platform. Normally, I have jumped a platform or I've gone in a different direction, and like very tiny percentage of my audience has ever followed. And like when I jumped from gaming to spirituality, I built pretty much from nothing. Like nobody was following me from my gaming career because most people that were watching me, my demographic was children. And when I moved on, I had to like find my way in a new platform with older people, with people my age. And, anyways, my point to bringing that up is that this is, if there's one thing I could give you, it's that yes, it's all very exciting. Yes, I think you should do it. I absolutely think it's worth it. But if you think this is a 3 month get rich quick thing, you're in it for the wrong reason. Like content creation and like, you need to be in it for the love of the game. You need to be in it for the love of the game, in it for the right reason. I'm not saying that wanting material value from what you're making is a bad thing. I think that's a great reason. It can be part of the reason, but actually factually thinking that you're going to have this all just set up perfectly in 3 months, you're wrong. Like I cannot stress it enough to you because I have seen it time and time and time again, even from people that have been close to me. I have seen it in friends, I have seen it in colleagues. I have seen this happen so many times in my career that people just start really, really, really bright and then they crash and burn. And it's ultimately because they're in it for the wrong reason from the jump. And it's not really centered around the love of the game and like really being happy with what they're doing or making, or really, really, really passionate about content creation. How did I figure out what kind of content felt natural to me instead of forcing what I thought would work? Oh my gosh, that's actually a loaded question. That's loaded for me because I still struggle with it. I still struggle with like, oh, I want to do what feels right for me, but I also want to keep my audience happy. And I think I've gotten better about it and not gripping things so tightly, especially because I stopped producing tarot content on my other channel. Like that was a huge step for me, letting go of something that just didn't really feel fun for me anymore. And like it was my moneymaker. It was the thing that like gave me the most free advertising for everything else that I do online. But it made me so emotionally unwell in the end. I was just not in it for the right reason anymore. And I do feel like I still struggle with it a little bit in doing things that feel right for me. But I do think that I don't know that I could have come to the place that I am in today with content creation without having all of those experiences of like trying to do things the way that I think they should be done so that I can gain whatever it is I'm trying to gain. I think now showing up as myself, doing my thing, and just like letting things be easy. I don't know how else to explain it. I'm just like not as hard on myself as I used to be. And I also take way better care of myself. Like, I cannot begin to express to you how I am emotionally, spiritually, physically really my own best friend. Like, I am my own best friend. I take excellent care of myself. First things first, I'm first. Like, that's a saying from another creator. I did not coin that phrase. So don't say you got it from me because I can't remember the original creator's name. She's wonderful though. But first things first, I'm first is my motto. First things first, I'm first. I am before my husband. I am before my job. I am before my animals. I am before any kind of chore list. I am before the laundry. I am before everything. First things first, I'm first. If my glass is empty, I'm not going to be getting fucked up about nothing. I'm going to be putting myself first. So I do feel like that has been a really good transition for me, even in content creation, because if I'm not putting me first, how am I supposed to pour to any of you? How am I supposed to? I can't. You can't. Like it first things first, I'm first. First things first, you are first. There's no like you can't be pouring out all of your juiciness all of your juiciness, all of your essence. You cannot be pouring all of that out and then expecting yourself to feel good. Like, nah. I am first in my life. We talked about this over the last couple of episodes when I talked about like routines and all of that. I've laid out for y'all how I really take excellent care of myself. I am my number one priority over anyone else, over anything else. And it's not selfish. Like, I think for many, many years, that was actually a hang up for me is I used to think it was really selfish to put myself first. Um, Mostly because I think as a child, anytime I did, I was constantly put down for that. Like, probably the biggest insult that's ever been hurled at me from like family is that I was always told that I was like selfish as a child, and like children are selfish. Hello? Like, but they don't like children aren't selfish, they just are unaware. And I would argue that children are supposed to be selfish. That is like, not that you can't be giving, because I'm the first person to tell you I was not a generous child. Like, I have several examples of where I was generous as a kid. But anytime I wanted to like not follow the herd, I would get told that I was selfish. And so I feel like it took me a really long time to also disconnect myself from my mother's like narcissism. And when you deal with being raised by a narcissist, you are so enmeshed with how they feel about everything that you don't even like have yourself, if that makes sense. And anyways, a lot of the like, especially the last like 6 months has been me like learning to undo that and put myself first no matter what and make me the number one priority. And I have to tell you, I am a better friend. I am a better lover. I am a better content creator. I am better at every single area of my life because I put myself first. So in terms of content creation, I don't force things that I don't want to talk about anymore. Like, if I don't want to talk about it and it's uninteresting to me, I'm just frankly not going to make the episode. I'm not going to make the short form content. Like, so many people have been like, Chloe, I miss your tarot readings. I miss you. I miss you. And I'm like, I love that. I appreciate that. How beautiful and amazing is it that I created such a thing that people miss me? That's such a beautiful thing. Please don't stop telling me that. It's very precious to me. But at the same time, creating in that way felt really inauthentic to me when I finally decided to stop doing it. And I have only gotten better since I've let it go. And so when I talk about like content creation from the space of doing things that make me feel good and in alignment with me, of course it feels a little scary to like change what you've been doing. But ultimately, like I said, I'm better. Like, not better than you, but like I am emotionally, physically, spiritually better. And I feel really good in my life right now. I feel very content with my life, with my lifestyle. I do not feel content with the horrors of the world. Let me tell you that. We're not going to get into it, but like that is, I am not happy about that. I have a lot of opinions about that, but that is for my local community and what I choose to do offline. Um, there are things I am very discontent with and very upset about. But I feel like when it comes to like me as a person, and I've said this before, y'all have heard me say it. I'm not at war with myself. I don't hate myself. I love myself. I think I'm gorgeous. I think I'm hot. I think I have a great personality. I'm a really good friend. I'm an excellent lover. I take care of the people in my life. And it is because I'm first. Like, I take care of me first, and I have so much energy to give to everybody else. And even when it comes to content creation, I have so much energy to give in this space because I'm giving to myself. And it feels more authentic because I'm doing it that way. So, I guess if I could say anything about like content creating from an authentic space and doing what feels right for me, I've always considered even this podcast is like a podcast of personality. Like, I'm always talking about and yapping about what I'm interested in. I'm not coming to you with topics that I don't give fuck shit about. They're always things that I'm interested in, whether they're fun or serious. And I think that is very authentic. Not every episode is going to hit for every person. Not every episode, like something else that I have recently noticed, not on YouTube, but on Apple, Spotify. Since I have gotten better mentally, I have noticed that I'm happier, I'm glowing, I feel good. My viewership has actually gone down. And I'm okay with this. I'm like, you know what? That's okay. Some people don't want that energy, and that's okay. Like, some people cannot hold your light, and some people also cannot hold your darkness, right? It's okay. It is okay for those things to shift and change. And being yourself is more important than calculating all those little like numbers and analytics and people and whatnot. And I also think about when it comes to creating content and staying in alignment with yourself, if you're somebody that ever gets like discontent around, and I've been there, girl, I get it, around people not resonating with your content as much anymore, or like views going down, or what have you, any of that stuff, always ask yourself, have you ever unfollowed someone before? Have you ever stopped resonating with someone before? Because I guarantee you that you have. And that's how I remind myself, like, I'm not for everyone. I'm not. I'm not for everyone. I'm not supposed to be for everyone. And that is okay. I found that in the past, when I tried to be for everyone, I lost myself. And that was the real sad part. Not in the Goddesses Year 2026, we are not losing ourselves anymore. Like I told y'all, we are unaliving people on these hills, and we are not giving up on ourselves. We are coming at 2026 like we are a bad bitch. And and frankly, we're just no, we're not doing that. We are not, what are we not doing? We are not being inauthentic to ourselves to please other people. If other people could be pleased, they would be pleased by now. When have you ever met a pleased person? They don't exist. So please yourself, stay with yourself for your content, do what feels good for you, and don't like don't force what you think is going to work. Do what feels good, because that's how you go viral. Like, every time, one more thing and then we're going to move on. Every time in my career that I have had a viral moment, it has been like the stupidest thing. It has been like that moment where I've pulled my camera out and been like blah 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 blah, and then hit post on like a 15-second video. Literally, I went viral in 2025 for posting about Taurus astrology, and it was like this really quick thing I made. I literally went viral overnight. Like, that post got like 3 million views on two different platforms, not across the platforms, like each. And it just like, it's always the stupidest shit that you go viral for. So, like, do what feels good for you. Be yourself, especially in this day and age when Aries is going to be up in so much shit. Literally, I think it's in like March. We have a huge Aries pile up. And I feel like that's going to be huge for the content creator that just like posts and doesn't think too hard about it. So, anyways, what do I do on days when I don't feel creative but still want to stay consistent? I show up and I do it. I just talked about this. Like, Mondays, I don't care how I feel. I don't care if I have therapy. I don't care if I haven't worked out yet. I will work out, but I don't care what is happening unless there is a literal emergency in my personal life. I'm showing up and I'm doing it anyways. There is no come hell or high fucking water, it's getting done. And I feel like for myself, that's what I need. Some people maybe don't operate well like that. I do. I need that level of consistency to keep me in line and doing it. Like, I talked about this as well in a previous episode, that like I used to be really vested in divine feminine energy and like flowing through everything. And in truth, I feel like I work better in my divine masculine. I work better being a little bit more serious. I work better being a little bit more pushy with myself. I work better with more rigid structure. And the times that I have let myself have none of that, I have been the most depressed I've ever been. So it does not work for me. I don't, and I'm not like, you know what else is so crazy though? And I think maybe this is what gets lost. I know we're kind of on a tangent right now, but, and somebody commented this, and I fully agreed with them on the podcast that I think the packaged version of divine feminine energy really convinced, myself included, a lot of people that you're just supposed to like chill and do nothing. And I think that led a lot of people to spiral out, myself included. I was one of those people that it was packaged to me in a way that was not correct. And I would actually argue that as I have accepted masculine containment of myself, not of my partner, not of a masculine person in my life, as I have been the masculine containment for myself, I have actually become more feminine. Like the two actually work together. And I don't think many people understand that you are both, you have both. And in order to have balance, you can't just let one of them go. Like, yeah, I just feel like there was a lot of misinformation that came in the fucking Piscean energy. That's such a Pisces thing to happen. I don't hate you, Pisces. It's not about me being a Pisces hater. I just feel like Pisces energy can be very confusing. And I feel like Pisces energy would be very like, oh no, go with the flow. It's going to be fine. Maybe that works for you, Pisces. It does not work for me. Um, I do feel like being more structured and rigid and masculine about things has led me to feeling softer and more like vulnerable and open in my life. So it's actually been like a really good thing. But anyways, when bottom line, when I don't feel like being consistent creatively, I don't care. I follow my plan and not my mood. I do not care. I don't care. I don't care. Like that is the attitude I have with myself. And I'm like, no, I actually don't care. You're getting the work done. Don't care how you feel. You can cry about it later. Like I feel like I work well with tough love, but only when it is my tough love. Like I don't want somebody else's fuck shit tough love. I want my tough love. And I feel like when I'm tough on myself, I get shit done. Okay. What mistakes did I make early on that taught me the most about routines and showing up? I feel like I learned a lot early on about overproducing and over showing up. And like basically in my early 20s, when I was building my first online career, I feel like I ate, slept, and breathed gaming content creation. I was doing this shit. Are you kidding? Sorry, loud ass motorcycle. How rude. I was eating, sleeping, breathing, drinking the gaming community. And every day I would start my day in Discord, talking to people in my Discord. I would start my day looking at what other people were streaming. What were the videos that got put out that day? How could I put my own spin on this? I did this for years. I was anxious as all hell. I had many mental health breakdowns in that time that were not as bad as the one that I had in 2021, but they were bad enough that I probably needed help back then and just didn't ever get it. But like there were times in that career where I would literally be under my desk where all my gaming stuff was just crying. I would just hide under my desk and cry. And it was ultimately because I just I feel like I had no life outside of it. This was all that I had. And I think that can be a beautiful thing in your 20s when you're really trying to build something. Like, that's so awesome to like really put your all into something. But in my experience as a seasoned creator, it never had to be that hard. It never was that serious. It never needed to be that serious. And yes, of course, I wanted to make it, but like, never at my own expense like that ever again. I think that is the difference of being a content creator before you turn 30 and being a content creator after you turn 30. And I do attribute that to the Saturn return that people, if you have Saturn in Aries, you're about to go through that. But I feel like a Saturn return really changes your perspective in a major way. And I don't know one person, not one, that has been through a Saturn return that it did not fundamentally change them as a person. And I feel like content creation now I will just never hurt myself like that again. I can't think of any good reason to do that. Like, I will never hurt myself like that again. I will never put myself under that much pressure. Like, yes, I can be mean to myself sometimes in the sense that I don't care if I wake up on Monday and I don't want to make content. I'm making content. Don't care, following the plan and not the mood. But I'm not going to sit here and like degrade every piece of content that I make or force myself to overproduce. If I'm tired, like, girl, the way I had no boundaries with content and routines as well, there was no boundary. My husband literally would be begging for my attention. And I'd be like, fuck you, I'm working, leave me alone. This is important. I'm building our future. Da 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 da. I had such an attitude about me. And like, where did it get me? 7 years later, I literally quit. There was no reason for me to act like that. And my husband and I have been through a lot, okay? Like, I try to leave him out of most of my stuff because our relationship to me is very special and I don't try to always put us on blast, but I know that there are people out there that are in relationships that they want to be the content creator. And sometimes you need to hear that like it's not always pretty and sometimes it stresses your marriage out. Sometimes you doing these weird ass antics stress your marriage out. And marry a Capricorn, okay? That's all I'm going to say. My husband's not a Capricorn, but he has a 5 placement Capricorn pile up in his chart. Marry a Capricorn. They are the long haul people. Capricorn or Taurus. Honestly, all the earth signs, but I would say Capricorn and Taurus are the like long-term homies. They are the like they are your ride or die. Within reason. Like they're not going to be crazy. Earth signs are not crazy. They're not going to be crazy and they're not going to put up with crazy either. But like if you're good to them, they will be good to you. They will like they want to be in the winter with you, okay? Like the hardship of life, especially Capricorn, will stick it out. Taurus will stick it out to a point. And I can't speak on Virgo. I'm gonna have to ask my Virgo friend about that. But anyways, I digress. We have side tangented so hard today. I'm distracted. But ultimately, I would say that that was my like biggest mistake in terms of showing up is I think I was over showing up. And it's actually good to go do things like probably one of my biggest regrets from my early career online is that I didn't do more socializing. I regret that. Like there were so many times where my husband would like go out with his coworkers and I was invited every time and I would always say no. Like I regret that. I wish that I had gone and tried to make more friends. I think that actually really hurt me in my later life. And I had to learn the hard way how important people are. Y'all have seen it on this podcast. We have talked about it. Now I'm in a place where I have community, I have friends, and like I live a much better life. Like I will never put my work before people like that ever again. Like it was bad for me. Not having a rich life outside of content creation was painful. Like don't do that to yourself. Try your best to have a life offline that is just as important as the one online, if not more important, I would argue. Have an offline life that is more important. Okay. How did building routines around my content change my confidence over time? Y'all, we're in our most confident era right now, currently, presently, today. Like, I think I am more confident in what I am doing now than ever before. I feel more aligned with what I'm doing now. I feel like there's also no pressure at the same time because I think I've also been through so many seasons that even if it doesn't work out, I don't really care. Like, I hope it works out. I hope the things that I want happen and then it all works out. But like, if it doesn't, at least I can say I tried. How many people don't even try? You know? Like, I feel like having routines and structure has given me the confidence to consistently keep showing up, even when it feels a little scary, like I'm going to be judged. Like I said, this just happened. Over this last week, I was really afraid that I was going to be judged for the piece of content that I put out. And no, actually, a lot of people really were into it and responded positively. Of course, there were people that disagreed that I disagreed with, but that's always going to happen no matter what you do. Like, that's just the reality. So I do think building a routine where you show up consistently also helps to kind of drive up your ability of knowing that you can, though, especially if you're somebody that's really new to content creation. I think that's important. Okay, if I started from zero today, what would I focus on first and what would I completely stop caring about? If I started from zero today, if I completely started over, new page, new website, new offerings, I would still care about the aesthetic. I would still care that it looked good. Okay, I am a Virgo midheaven. I like things to be polished before I start doing shit. Before I start moving, I like to move in silence first. That's been me for most of my life, actually, with anything I've ever made. Um, which I think is okay, but not if you're somebody that never actually shows up. Like, if moving in silence is your thing, but then you never get out of the silent part, don't do that. Just start. But I think I'm actually very good at executing things in private and then sharing them when I'm ready. I've done this numerous times in my career, but I do feel like if I could start over from completely zero today, I would I would choose not to niche down. Like, I know that might sound counterproductive, but I would choose not to niche down. I would choose to make myself the product. Like, I would choose to make myself the person of interest instead of, oh, I do this thing or this thing or this thing. I would be the point of interest so that no matter what I do, people would be interested. Like, I kind of think about Leo Skeppy this way, if y'all are familiar with him. Leo can talk about almost anything and people are interested because it is his personality. He is a personality. Like, people like him for his personality. I always say in content creation, there's a triangle. Okay. Write this down if you're a content creator. There's a triangle. Very few people are a triple threat. Very few people have every single point of the triangle. Most people only have two. And if you pick two, you're in good shape. So, one point of the triangle is your personality. Are you funny? Do you like engage people in your personality? People like your personality. There's education. You're giving away a free service. You're teaching people things. And then there's beauty and aesthetic, which is beauty and aesthetic to me is the easiest one to cheese. Like, not if you're not coordinated and don't have the eye. Like, I forget that some people don't have that talent. And it's something that comes very naturally to me. And yes, I will toot my own horn. It comes very easily to me. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I'm a Taurus. I feel like Libra and Taurus kind of have this thing. Venus ruled signs. I don't know. But beauty and aesthetic, I feel like is not hard for me. That's one that I have in the bag. But when it comes to the other two, personality versus education, I feel like I tend to fall in the education camp before I fall into personality. Some of y'all might disagree with that, but I don't think that my personality is what keeps people coming back. Maybe like 10% of you like my personality. I don't think it's my personality. I don't think I'm that funny. I don't think I'm the most charming, but I know that I'm smart and I'm educated. I can teach people things, and I know that my aesthetic is on point. And if it's not like your editing style and aesthetic, people will also follow you because you're hot. Like, I said what I said. When it comes to that third thing, aesthetic, it can be because you're really pretty or really hot. Sometimes it's natural for some people. Or it's that your like editing style, your beauty and aesthetic, the things that you have curated around your content are really pleasing to the eyeballs. So, that's what I mean. You only need two. A triple threat is wonderful, but you only need two. And I feel like the easiest for me is education, beauty, and aesthetic. I'm great at that. I can do that for days. It's the personality that I'm like, I get a little shy about that sometimes. I get a little shy and I'm like, oh, I don't know. That feels scary. But if I had to start from the ground, I would ask myself, where do I fall into that triangle? And if I don't feel like I have any of that, how can I start to teach myself that? Because I feel like you can change your personality. Like, if you want to, you can. If I wanted to become more funny, I could go and take improv classes. I could go and like really go on hard mode to get myself to enable myself to have a quicker wit. Like, I believe that. I could do it if I wanted to. It's just not currently where I reside. Yeah, I think I can be funny, but I feel like I also am always second guessing it. Laughs in uncomfortable Gemini moon. But I feel like it's just not, you don't have to have all three. A triple threat's fun, but you need two. So pick your two. Are you going to be somebody with a cool personality that everybody wants to be friends with or wants to be like? Are you going to have beauty and aesthetic as your thing? Are you already like conventionally attractive? Because I hate to say it, I hate that it's true. I didn't make the rules. Don't be mad at me. But unfortunately, beauty is like people like beauty will give you a leg up in terms of content creation. People like to look at pretty people. It is a fact. And this is why like some people are able to. Like I always kind of look at like who's a triple threat? I feel like I feel like Trisha Paytas could be a triple threat. I think she's funny. She has a personality that people like. I do think she's conventionally attractive. Whether she bought that attractiveness or not is beside the point. And well, she doesn't necessarily educate though. So maybe she's not a triple threat. That doesn't mean that she couldn't educate people though. I just don't know if that's her strong suit. I'm trying to think about like who do I think is like really a triple threat? I think they do exist. I mean, I don't want to name names. I can think of at least one person. I'm not going to name names because I feel like they used to be a colleague and it feels weird. Somebody in the gaming industry that I loved very much, but I'm sorry, I'm not gonna name drop that. It would be weird if she saw it. It'd be weird if she saw it. Like, I don't know. That would make me uncomfortable. I do think there are like I do think I have met triple threats. I think they do exist. But anyways, if I was going to start from the bottom, I would ask myself that. What are the two I'm going to target unless I'm trying to go for all three? What are the two I'm going to target and where can we build on that? And like if you're going to be educational, okay, we're going to be educational. What are we going to educate people on? What is the problem that the world needs solved that I have expertise on? If I'm going to be the talent, what's my talent? What is my personality? What is going to make people want to be friends with me, be like me? What am I funny, right? Like what parts of me are funny? And like sometimes people I feel like that are naturally witty like that, they don't even have to think that hard about it because it's just like how they think and who they are. And then as far as like aesthetic beauty, if you're not conventionally attractive, you need to start figuring out how you're going to do your editing style and how you're going to make it yours. What are your fonts? What are your transitions? What do you want things to look like in the editing room that's going to coin it as yours? What do you want your thumbnails to look like that people see that and they go, "Oh, that's so and so's video and I can tell because look at the thumbnail." You know? This is what I'm talking about. If I started from zero, these are the things I would be thinking about. And I would also, just like a pro tip, I would also, when choosing a name for myself, I would make sure that it is not a mouthful. Like, you don't want to be confusing people with a bajillion words, not a mouthful, and something that you get to have. Like, you don't want to be superstar five. No. Like, you want to be superstar, right? And superstar is probably not available. So you need to pick something else. Like for me, Chloe Taylor, that's not that original. That's just my name. But nobody else, I don't know any other person that's Chloe Taylor spelled the way mine is. Nobody else had it. I was able to reserve it. Like, this is what I mean. Like, you can use your name and that's fine. But if your name is like Madison Park, good luck. I'm sure that's already taken. Like, if you're going to go with your name, it's fine. You're allowed to go with your name. But if you have a really common name, like you want something that no one else has, you want something that is original to you, like you don't want to pick the one that has to have an underscore in it or a bunch of numbers in it. If you can avoid that in your branding, I would avoid it. Try to pick something that isn't too long, but that is something that could be personal to you that nobody else has stolen, or not stolen, but like reserved rather, the handle for. That's just like a branding tip that I don't hear enough people talk about. That when you choose your name, you do need to be a little bit strategic about that. Um, Anyways, I think that's all we got. Those are all the questions. I feel like we went on a lot of little side quests today, but I just wanted to share those things with you, talk a little bit about branding, content creation, maybe some of like the deeper questions around content creation. And let's go ahead and talk to Chloe in the Yapper Girl Corner. Hi, girly pop. Welcome to the Yapper Girl Corner. This is the section of the podcast where I just yap about life, what's been happening, what's been going on. We have a little bit more of a relaxed time. We don't focus so much on the topic at hand. This is where I just get to like gush about my life and things that I care about. So, first of all, yes, we have a Taurus mug. I'm drinking out of my Taurus mug. I'm actually drinking a cup of coffee. And what time is it? Girly pop, it is 6:26. I probably shouldn't be drinking this, but I don't know. I still have like 5.5 hours till bedtime. It'll probably be okay. Maybe that's just my copium. I don't know. But how are we feeling about this straight hair? If you're watching the video, I straightened my hair honestly like last Friday. I blew it out straight and then flat ironed it. And I was like, you know what? I don't hate this. So when I washed my hair today after I worked out, I did it again. And I definitely think curls suit me more, but I'm not mad at this. I think a little straight moment, the only thing straight about me, honey, is going to be my hair. Um, I think doing a little straight moment though, she's cute. And look how long it is. I'm not wearing a bra, so I'm not going to show you my titties, but um, yeah, I don't know. I feel like my hair looks so fierce and it's so long and I'm just really here for the length right now. Anyways, girly pop, it has been a week, okay? What is today? I mean, it's been a week, bitch. It's Monday. For you, it's Sunday. And I've recorded this like a week ago, but I was like, it's been a week. No, I mean, since the last podcast, yes, it has been a week, but I feel like I am just having such a good time. Yes, the horrors of the world persist. Hate all of that. That has been a very dysregulating thing. But what are like, you know what I like? Me and my husband like to ask ourselves whenever things like feel bad, instead of going, what's wrong with you, we'll go, what's right with you? So I want to take a moment to tell you what is right with me right now. So first and foremost, I would love for you to tell me down below. You can either talk about it in the comments or just leave me like a bunch of emojis that represent what is right with you right now. Like if you're eating pasta and that feels good, leave me the little spaghetti emoji. If you're like, you know what I'm saying? Like leave me like emojis and maybe I'll try to decode some of them because I think that would be really funny. But what is right with me, girly pops? What is right with me right now is number one. Oh my God. I was actually really excited to talk about this. So y'all know I'm on a fat loss journey. I've been losing weight consistently for 2 months and it's going extremely well. I am not going to say any more than that about that, except for at every 10 pounds down, I give myself a non-food related reward because in the past, when I would be on a fat loss journey, I would always reward myself with like, oh, I'm going to go out to dinner. I'm going to go buy this fancy food item. And when you're trying to lose weight, giving yourself food rewards is kind of counterproductive. Um, so I go with non-food related rewards and I rewarded myself this time with perfume, but I'll link these down below if anybody wants them because they were so inexpensive that I bought two. I said, I want two different ones. My inner child is living her dream life, okay? And I'm sorry, I'm going to keep touching my hair because it's fun to play with. When it's like this, it just like feels so soft and luxurious. Anyways, we're also having a girly pop time. It's fine if I want to play with my hair. But oh my God, I bought Paris Hilton perfume. So the original one that's like the pink and black bottle. I don't know if y'all remember the pink and black bottle. I bought that, which like You were that bitch if you wore this shit in school, okay? I was that bitch. I really wasn't that bitch though. In school, I don't think I really had a like, this is who I was. I was not like, oh, I'm a jock. Oh, I'm a nerd. Oh, I'm this. I didn't have that in high school, but I did have like, I kind of knew everybody. Like, I did have a core group of friends, but I feel like I knew everybody. I definitely was somebody that could stop and talk to anyone if I wanted to or had to. But I would not say that I was that girl in high school by any means. I feel like if my parents had been cooler and had given me access to more resource, I could have really been that bitch, but I was not given the opportunities. And also, I think I was a lot more shy than I am now. But I feel like I was that bitch in spirit, you know? And Paris Hilton perfume, it's called Paris Hilton. That's why I keep saying it like that because she is the maker and it like there are a bunch of other ones like she did Can was another one. I can't remember any of the others, but I know Can. But the Paris Hilton one smells so good. Then I also bought myself because again it was so inexpensive for like a big ass bottle. I bought myself the Vera Wang Princess perfume. Oh my God, girly pop. I'm thriving. Like, I have literally been waiting for my man, and I say this with every ounce of disrespect. I have been waiting for my man to buy me perfume for probably like 3 Christmases. It's despicable, honestly, that the man has not gifted me perfume. And I was like, you know what? Miley Cyrus really said it the best. I can fucking buy myself flowers and I can hold my own hand. And I'm not mad at the man. Honestly, like we have been through some challenging financial times and I have expensive taste on a good day. So I don't entirely blame him. Like we didn't necessarily have the funds for a $200 bottle of shampoo. No, perfume. I'm literally just being silly. My man is actually wonderful and I am more in love with him than I have been in some time. Like I've talked to y'all about this in the past that I recently was like, oh my God, this is what people talk about. I have fallen in love with you all over again. Like, we had to have a time where we were not really fucking with each other. And I am completely head over heels in love with my husband. We have reverberated back. We have gone back and now we love each other in new ways that we didn't know was possible. Don't know how that charming motherfucker did it, but he did, by the gods. But so yeah, I'm just teasing when I say these things. I'm not being serious. No, he really hasn't gifted me perfume, and that should be a crime. But I was like, fuck it, I'll buy my own perfume. And so I got myself two because I'm worth it. And like I said, they were really inexpensive, I feel like. Like I remember Vera Wang Princess, being an expensive perfume at one time. It's not anymore. Girly Pop, she smells so good. The bottle is still so cute. And it just like instantly takes me back to being in high school and even like early college. I remember having Vera Wang Princess when I was probably like 20 years old. I had this and I was like living with a bunch of girly pops as my roommates in college. I had a really weird college experience because I was very anxious. I often did not go to class and I was just always at home in my room. But the best parts that I can recall, like this scent was always around me because I was spraying it on all my clothes. Like I had a scarf that I wish I still had it because it definitely gives me like 2016. Actually, it really gives me like 2010 vibes. Wish I still had it. Got it at Charlotte Russe. This scarf forever smelled like Vera Wang Princess because I had sprayed it so many times that even when I washed the scarf, it would still smell like it. Don't have it anymore. Wish I did. But yeah, I am like living my best life, spraying all my little perfumes after I get ready. And I'm just like, bitch, I have two. I'm spoiled for two choices. So living for that. Also, I recently got back into, and I mentioned it last week, but we didn't really talk about it. I recently got back into Vampire Diaries. Girl, I did it again where I watched like 3 seasons of Pretty Little Liars and then I gave up. Also, why do I feel like you're just not in alignment with me? Like the camera is not sitting where it needs to be sitting and it's bothering me. Okay, I think that's a little bit better. I don't know. Maybe I just made it worse. But I I was like, "No, I'm gonna go all the way. I'm gonna watch all of Pretty Little Liars again." Girl, I crashed out in season 3 and we didn't go back, and now I feel like I have to wait until fall to get back to it because I feel like that's like a fall show, you know? Vampire Diaries, I could also argue is a fall show, but I don't know. Like something about Pretty Little Liars, I always want to watch it in the fall. So we'll pick her back up this year later. But I started rewatching Vampire Diaries. That show is so messy. There is so much shit that would not fly in today's world in that show. I'm not through even season 1 yet. I've barely gotten into it. But this show is so unhinged. Like, what in the hell is even happening with Stefan and Caroline's characters in season 1? I feel like the first time I ever saw this show, which I've never seen all of it. I've only ever seen like maybe seasons 1 through 4. And basically around the time that everybody started getting doppelgangers, it lost me. And I was like, girl, this show's a mess. I'm done. But I kind of want to watch all of it. Like I've seen the final episode when spoilers, if you haven't watched, don't listen to what I'm about to say. I've seen the episode where Nina Dobrev, Kate, the actress who plays Elena, comes back and her and Damon have their little like reunion scene. I've seen that. So like I know that they end up together, but like this show is just wild. And I feel like they did Bonnie so dirty at certain points in the show, many points in fact. And how did we just forgive Damon for doing what he did to Caroline in season 1? And I'm just going to say it. I feel like if I had to pick, like when I first saw this show, I was a big Damon and Elena fan. That was like, I really was behind the trope. I feel like if I had to pick now, I'm probably a Klaus and Caroline fan. Like, I know a lot of people liked them too. But then on the other hand, I'm like, no, I hate angry men. Like, my father is the last angry man I will ever let into my life, okay? I fucking despise angry men. I don't fuck with them. I don't like an angry man. If you got a temper, get away from me. And Klaus has such a fucking temper. But also, like, maybe that says something about me because my favorite movie, Disney, growing up was Beauty and the Beast. And, like, what is Beast but a man with a temper? Like, I hate men with a temper. Like, I literally, and I'm not even playing when I say this, I thank the goddess every day of my life that my husband is not an angry man. Like, it takes so much for him to get mad. He is not an angry person. And I love that about him. My nervous system needs a strong masculine man that is not angry all the time. He's not an angry man. I literally think whatever conspired to bring us together because you have to remember my husband and I have been together for going on 18 years. Um I've been with him longer in my life than I haven't. And at that age, how could I have picked somebody that wasn't angry? Like I feel like knowing what I knew growing up in my house, like it would have been a surefire thing that I would have picked an angry man. But no, my man is not an angry man. And I literally hate angry, like hate. Like I do not say hate lightly. I fucking hate angry men. Like do better. And if you're going to be angry about the right causes. Don't be angry at women and shitty. Like, nah. I hate an angry man. My father is the last angry man I will ever let into my life. Um, but yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know why, like Klaus and Caroline, I appreciated it more. And I don't even think they end up together, which is dumb. I want to say, doesn't Caroline end up with like Stefan or something? And aren't they together in real life? I'm actually not sure. Further research is needed. I'm sure you're going to hear more about Vampire Diaries in the future because I'm still watching it, but I don't know. I just wanted to like chat about that a little bit. I also wanted to chat about how, girl, what is even going on with all of the protein? What is happening? When you go to the grocery store, a motherfucker is like This is the protein Reese's cup. Fuck off with that. You are a Reese's cup. Stop it. And this is something that actually really grinds my gears because it falls in alignment with greenwashing, where companies make things seem like they're healthy by putting these buzzwords on them. But I'm going to teach you something right now. Write this down, okay? If you're somebody that's like, I can't get my protein, this is a wrapper from Magic Spoon. I actually kind of liked these. They're not the best. They're technically not a high protein food, and I'm going to tell you why. Actually, I could use this as an example. So, if you're looking for a high protein food, Girly Pops, if you're not eating protein, what are you doing? I strive for 140 grams a day. Yes, I do feel like that is important, especially if you're on a fat loss journey. You do need to be paying attention to that. But foods like this should not be the baseline. Whole foods should be the baseline. Not the place, but like whole food ingredients, chicken, vegetables, fish, grass-fed beef, things like that. But if you're trying to like get little proteins in, this is the thing I want you to remember when you go to the store and you look for a high protein food that isn't a whole food. I get this from, I cannot remember their name. I'm so sorry. They are a wonderful content creator. If anybody knows who I'm talking about and you hear what I say, please say it in the comments. But if I can find them, I will try to put them on the screen, like their name. But basically, you look at the amount of protein on the back of the label and add a 0 to that. So this thing that I'm looking at has 12 grams of protein. I'm going to say, okay, 120. That doesn't mean 120 grams. Just put a 0 at the end of it, 120. Now, if the food has the same amount less or equal to that number, it is a high protein food. If the calories are more than this number, it is not a high protein food. This bar has 140 calories. It is more than 120 because the protein, just add a 0 to it, 12 becomes 120. This has 20 more calories than that protein amount. So by that logic, this is not a high protein food. Barely, but it's not a high protein food. And this shit really grinds my gears because we literally have Reese's cups out here. Fucking Hershey. Isn't that who makes the Reese's? We got Hershey out here being like, oh, our new protein peanut butter cup. Bitch, look at the calories and the sugar in that. No, that is not a good source of protein for you. That shit makes me so mad. This actually was not bad. I feel like if you're wanting a dessert and you're trying to like hit a protein goal, this was not a terrible thing to eat. I feel like, especially if you're like into low carb, I feel like it's a good, but it's not something that like you should be using this to like subsidize your protein count every day. Whole foods are best. I would say like the best thing you can add into your diet that maybe isn't whole foods based would be a protein shake, but something that isn't full of sugar. It like even the Premier Protein, I always tell y'all that I drink, that doesn't really have my stamp of approval because there's so much bullshit in it. But it is low carb, low sugar, and the macros make sense. I think they're like 160 calories and it's 30 grams of protein. So 300 versus 160, that is a high protein food. Anyways, it's going to be better for you to eat your protein anyways. You're going to be more satiated, but I wanted to talk about the fuckery with the greenwashing of protein that I'm seeing right now. I feel like all of the brands got wise to the fact that everybody is on their protein game right now, and they be out here trying to confuse us all, and I don't like that. Oh, that's actually funny that I was talking about Premier Protein because there's a protein, an empty one that I'm sure my husband drank this, but literally 30 grams of protein, 160 calories. If you add a 0 to that 30, it becomes 300. It is more protein. This is a high protein item. So yeah, not necessarily the best because it's full of like gums and shit, but it's not terrible. If you're gonna have something and you're trying to meet a protein goal, I would not say that that is the worst thing you could do. But yeah, the greenwashing of the protein, I am not into that. It actually really pisses me off. And I feel like it takes people that are like good trying to make good on their health goals and confuses them. And I'm so sick of that in this oversaturated diet culture market when it is actually very simple when you learn basic techniques and rules that you can follow that will help you. I hope that tool that I just gave you, if you're somebody that's on that same path as me right now, I hope keeping that in mind will help you to make better choices. Like, always pay attention to the protein versus the calories, because if you're just eating a bunch of empty calories and it's like, oh, but it's 10 grams of protein, that is not enough. Like, that is not enough, my friend. That is not enough. Anyways, girly pop, I hope this episode was fun. I am feeling a little bit tired. Thank goddess I already worked out today and I don't have to edit this right now. I will be doing that tomorrow. But it's been fun. I've loved chatting with you. Let me know down below. Tell me what you are into. Share those emojis with me. And please do not forget, when you stand on your own authenticity, you empower everyone around you to do the same. And please, for the love, follow your plan and not your mood this week. Bye.